So I wanted to discuss Cyberpunk for a while because it's been out for a while and it's been getting a lot of criticism that I think it fully deserves. My first criticism is the crunch time the developers faced. Now, this one was definitely not as talked about as the broken mess that is the game, but the developers of Cyberpunk were in crunch time for so long that people got hospitalized because of how hard they were working out on this game. And I think it just goes to show just how unhealthy and how scummy forcing developers into crunch time is. And I'm like, with The Last of Us, it was the same thing with The Last of Us 2. A lot of people went into crunch time, and that was one of the reasons why, even if the game was good, which thank God it wasn't, otherwise I would have actually felt bad not getting it, but it just, like, the developers who made the game did not deserve all of that mistreatment. And it's the same thing here. Developers were heavily mistreated and were, going through a lot of crunch time. Like a stupid amount just to get this game pumped out on the date that got delayed 3 times. And they were like, all right, we have to get this game out. But sir, it's incomplete. I don't care. Get this game out right now. That's literally what happened. And now the game's out, and now it's total garbage, especially if you're playing Last Generation. And why did they even release it for the Last Generation? If it's not going to work for the Last Generation, you could have just not released it. Nobody was forcing you to. Nobody even, like, I would have expected it if it wasn't going to be, because, like, maybe it was, you could have made the excuse of, hey, so we want to make this game a bit better, or we want to make this game, maybe, a bit like, we want to expand upon the game just a little bit, but it can't work for PS4 and Xbox One if we do that. So we're just going to make it PS5 and Xbox Series X. And you know what? People could have easily bought that if you just said that's what the issue was, even if the underlying problem was the fact that it couldn't run on the Last Generation. But you know what? That's fine. That's perfectly fine. But you released it anyway, knowing full well it wasn't going to work, and that's what my biggest issue is. Despite my biggest issue is crunch time. Second biggest issue is that they were so scummy that they would release a game for full price on hardware that can't even properly run it. It's like trying to run current version of Minecraft on my dad's computer that sucks ass. It works at 1 frame per second, and if I go to Hypixel, it works at 20 frames. It's the exact situation. I'm trying to force a thing that can't run it to run it, and that's a serious issue for everyone. Some people got the game for PS4 and Xbox One because they didn't have a PS5 or Xbox Series X. So they got the game for PS4 or Xbox One, expecting it to still be a high quality game. And what they got was total bullshit. And I think it goes to show what I call the No Man's Sky effect is in play here, which is there were empty promises of this game, looking great, like looking as great as it would on the console it was promised to be on. And, promises were not delivered. And so now they have to be, like, pushed in. And the game was overhyped, which caused even more backlash towards the developers of the game because they did not fully deliver on what was promised. And I call it the No Man's Sky effect because that's really the only game that comes to mind when I think of a situation like this, where the game was overhyped, there were empty promises, the game wasn't as great as expected. I understand the story may be really good, but everything piles on top of that makes the story insignificant in comparison with when you have, like, game-breaking glitches that don't let you progress in the story that is apparently really good. And I refuse to get Cyberpunk 2077. I don't think I'll ever get it just because I don't trust this. I got No Man's Sky on the day it released, and it was absolute garbage. And so how, like, and yeah, they're releasing patches to make the game better. And yeah, No Man's Sky was great, was actually pretty good later down the road when they introduced updates to the game and stuff. And that's what CD Projekt Red has to do here, and it's fucking ridiculous. With that being said, my name is Log, and I'm a head out, so I'll see you later. Hey there. If you enjoyed this video, please consider leaving a like and subscribing, as it lets me know you want to see more of this type of content in the future. And feel free to leave suggestions for me in the comments, as I'm always open to new ideas. Thank you, and have a beautiful day.